Morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all well. The Hidden Hand is the name of the channel. 888 subscribers, all the eights. Just thought a quite interesting video, to be honest. Again, just telling you the crack, really. How it all works, but it links into bigger things as well. Again, like the sort of totalitarian world government, the New World Order, and how we're already kind of in it in a way, but it's just the illusion of democracy is what people are seeing. Well, when we get to the New World Order, there's no need for the illusion of democracy anymore, and things will be how they really are. Is a way of looking at it, and this in a way very much proves it. It also kind of links into Tommy Robinson, and I seen him there on May the 16th for another London shindig. But what was accomplished? What was accomplished after September the 13th? And the answer is absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing was accomplished. And this video, in a way, kind of tells you why. So very interesting, to be honest. I'll try not to interrupt too much because it's nearly half an hour long. It's quite detailed as well, though, but this is kind of how it all works and why there is no democracy and why these people will push us towards a new world order. And we're kind of already in it, but it's just they're going to remove the fucking the veil of bullshit that most people live behind and just tell you the way it is at that point. It's kind of the crack. So yeah, we'll have a listen to this, but this is very much how it all works. Do you know what I mean? This is how it all really works. So we'll get into this.
I want to tell you about a system, a beautiful system, a system so elegant, so well designed, that the people living inside it genuinely believe they're free. Here's how it works. Every few years, you get to choose between two people you've never met, two people who went to schools you couldn't afford, two people who've never had a job that involved actual work, two people selected by a process you weren't part of, funded by money you'll never see, and approved by institutions you didn't know existed. And you get to pick which one. That's the freedom, that's the democracy, two doors, same building, both locked. You get to choose the colour of the door, and then you're supposed to feel grateful. At least we get to vote. Yeah, at least the zoo animals get to choose which corner of the cage they sleep in.
But hold on. If we don't like the whole thing, can't we just change it?
Change what?
The system. The whole thing. If it's not working, can't we just get rid of it and do something else?
Well, no.
What do you mean, no?
I mean, no, you can't. There is no mechanism, no legal process, no form, no vote, no petition, no constitutional pathway for the public to say, we no longer consent to this structure, we are replacing it. That option doesn't exist.
But it's a democracy.
Is it? Let me ask you something. In a democracy, who holds the power?
The people.
Right, the people. That's the theory. So if the people hold the power and the people decide the system isn't working, the people should be able to change the system. Yes? But they can't. The people can change the management, they can rotate the staff, they can swap one approved candidate for another approved candidate. But the structure itself, the thing that decides what the rules are, who makes them, how power is distributed, that's untouchable. That's off the menu. That's not up for discussion. Now here's my question. If you live in a system that you cannot leave, cannot change, and cannot remove, what do you call that? Because I looked it up and there's a word for it, but we'll get to that. Let's talk about how they did it, because this didn't happen by accident. This was engineered carefully over centuries.
Yeah, over a long time. We were born into this. The word's not abnormal, by the way. The name is a dictatorship. We very much live in a dictatorship, not a democracy, and this is kind of will prove it. And that's why nothing ever changes. It always gets worse, and we're being pushed towards a world government because we're already kind of in the control system. They just want to finalise it, you know what I mean? Finalise the final things before they get total control. But they very much have control, and have had control for a long time. But they know there's far too many people. I mean, this leaks into the World War III. and getting rid of a lot of people, because if the people figure this out before they get rid of everybody, we might be able to stop them. But the minute World War III starts, we will not be able to stop them. They're going to get rid of quite a lot of people during the war. Apparently 80% of the world's population, and bring the population right down. Maybe sound far-fetched now, but wait till the war actually starts. Yeah, they're locking control down forever, where there's no possibility of people rising up and revolting. But at the minute we have the numbers where we could, and that's why people like me and many other people were trying to wake everybody up, because time was running out and we had the numbers to do something about this. But ultimately we can't do anything about it once World War III starts and they're bringing emergency powers for the government, and once they start killing people in droves, we don't have the numbers anymore, you know what I mean? So this was kind of why people were trying to tell you the crack, because the only way to stop this was the people, and the people were too busy watching football and Netflix and on their iPhones, and hadn't figured out that we were all being fucked to the end of time here, quite literally. So yeah, it's very interesting this, but this is kind of the crack. Again, he's right. What does democracy mean? What do you really get to vote on? And the answer's nothing. We get to pick which one of these muppets is in charge, who railroads us like the rest of them. So we'll crack on. We'll watch a bit more.
These were smart people. They knew what they were doing. The first thing you need to understand is that the British Constitution, the rules that govern how the country works, isn't written down. It's not a document. It's not a piece of paper you can read. It's a collection of laws, conventions, precedents, traditions, and, I'm not making this up, what we've always done.
So how do you know what the rules are?
You ask someone who went to Oxford. I'm barely joking. The British Constitution is whatever the people in power say it is. It's interpreted by judges appointed by the government. It's enforced by institutions created by Parliament. It's explained by academics funded by the state. The rules are guarded by the people. The rules benefit. That's the first trick. The second trick is even better. Parliament is sovereign. That means Parliament, not the people, Parliament, has absolute legal authority. Parliament can make or unmake any law. Nobody can override Parliament. No court can strike down what Parliament decides.
But we elect Parliament.
Do we? You elect your MP, one person out of 650, and your MP doesn't represent you. Your MP represents a party, and if your MP votes against the party, your MP gets expelled, so you elect someone who is legally obligated to ignore you. And those 650 people, most of whom you didn't vote for, representing parties you might oppose, they have absolute power. They can change any law, including the laws about how they get elected, including the laws about how long they stay in power, including the laws about whether elections happen at all. But they wouldn't do that. Of course they wouldn't. That would be obvious. They don't need to cancel elections. They just need to make...
He says that, but Labour just did it, and then there's questions about the next election, general election. Again, if we're in the midst of a war, there will be no next election. Yeah, like half of the things he just said there have actually now been done. So, yeah, we don't live in a democracy. It should be obvious to anybody, really. It's just a guise of bullshit, but it's not even that good. Like, really isn't. In my opinion, I've said this before, the king's in charge, the king, the queen, it's kind of in the name, you know what I mean? If you look back in the kings and the queens, they were kind of in charge. It's His Majesty's government. He can dissolve government. The people can't, but the king can. The king can kick the Prime Minister out. He can say if he can be Prime Minister after we elect him, he gets a final decision. He has a meeting once a week with the Prime Minister. So it's like... if you look past the bullshit and the lies, it's kind of obvious. Like, and again, the king's very much for the New World Order, and he's behind the Economic Forum, and by 2030 you'll own nothing. Again, people don't realise it, but we are the peasants, right? We are the peasants. Now, if you go back in time, we weren't well thought of, us peasants, right? And we're not now, but they just don't treat us in exactly this. Although the king is supposed to be a twat with his staff, But yeah, we're the peasants, like, to be ruled and controlled, and nothing ever changed. Nothing ever changed at all. If you think these people think differently in 2026, you're very wrong. These people are the royalty, they are the powers that be, they are, in effect, the ruling class. And who do you think the ruling? Well, us, you know what I mean? So yeah, these people, for me, are very much the ones in charge. They just pretend they're not because they can't be asked with the hassle, and there would be a lot of hassle at this point in time in the age we live in. So they were very very clever in hiding their power behind a government. But ultimately, this government just works for them and does what they're told, as you're seeing here. Again, whose plans are they following? Well, the global elites. Well, the royal family are very much part of the global elites. It's the royal family, very rich, you know. So yeah, it's just a veil of bullshit that isn't even that good, but it's obvious to me anyway. You can see past it, and like this is all the truth of the matter. You know what I mean? So to me, it's really the king, and again, it's kind of in the name, you know, king. Like it's we look back at the kings again. It's all there to be seen, really. It's just you've been told one thing, while you're kind of seeing something else. So we'll crack on, and yeah, hold on.
Elections meaningless, and they have. Here's the beautiful part: there is no law, none. That allows the British public to dissolve Parliament. There is no referendum option for replace the system. There is no constitutional convention the public can call. There is no mechanism whatsoever for the people to remove the structure. The only body that can dissolve Parliament is Parliament itself. Think about that. The only way to remove the system is if the system decides to remove itself. That's like saying the only way to fire your boss is if your boss fires himself. That's like saying the only way to escape prison is if the prison warden opens the door and says, "Off you go then. Sorry about all that." It's insane. It's obviously never going to happen. And that's the design.
What about America? They've got a constitution.
They do, written down and everything. Very fancy. And you know what's in it? Article 5, the amendment process. To change the US Constitution, you need 2/3 of both houses of Congress to propose an amendment, then 3/4 of state legislatures to ratify it. 2/3 of Congress, 3/4 of states, in a country that can't agree on whether healthcare should exist. The Constitution has been amended 27 times in 235 years. The last time it was amended was 1992, and that one was originally proposed in 1789. It took 203 years. So yes, America has a mechanism for changing the rules, and that mechanism requires the people who benefit from the rules to agree to change them, which they won't, because why would they?
Yeah, so as he's saying there, like America isn't a democracy either. It's just again the illusion of democracy. So the New World Order, the totalitarian world government, communist basically, is already very much the way of things. We have no control, we have no power, there is no democracy. We're just railroaded by the rich people and always have been. So this is the final plan of the rich people, the New World Order. They were just they didn't have the technology, basically, to enact the plan. So now we've got the technology and the AI, and they can have total control. Well, that's what they're going to do. They're going to take total control. And that's what the New World Order is, really. But you already very much live in the New World Order. It's just they've lied to you, and you believe that this isn't the way of things, but it very much is the way of things. You are very much already in a dictatorship, and this guy will prove you are in a dictatorship at this point. When you're in a system and there's no chance of it being removed, and you have to do as you're told, you're very much in a dictatorship, and this you will prove it later in the video. So yeah, it's again, America's the same. It's absolutely the same. It's just the illusion of democracy. And if you've got the illusion of democracy, you don't actually need democracy if everyone buys the illusion. So yeah, but we never had democracy, and the point is in by 2030, you're gonna be very well aware of that. They'll have just removed the veil of bullshit, and it's just now do as you're told, right? We're the rich people, we're in charge, do as you're told. That's kind of the way of it. And again, there's a lot of other rules coming with it, like what you can do. You won't be allowed to go anywhere or do anything. Many films as well have kind of predicted the future being a shit show for the poor people. So it very much will be. It very much will be. And through the war and economic collapse, the poor people will suffer greatly. The rich people will not suffer at all. Partly because they planned and made all this happen, but also prepared massively for what was coming. Again, stocked up and built bunkers and you name it. Very much got ready for the coming storm. So the rich people will not suffer in the coming storm, much as they did not suffer during World War II. Again, how many of the Queen's palaces were blown up there, you know what I mean? Would have been prime target for me. So yeah, these people, do you think the Queen was rationing during World War II and the royal family? The answer is no. The answer is no, they were not. So yeah, well, carry on. We'll carry on.
But the founding fathers were slave owners who didn't let women vote and designed a system to protect property rights above all else. They weren't designing freedom, they were designing control, they were just better at marketing. So if there's no legal way out, how do government structures actually get removed? Let's look at history, not the history they teach you, kings and queens and battles and dates. The history that matters. When did people actually tear down the structure and replace it with something else? The French Revolution in 1789, the granddaddy, the one everyone thinks about. Here's what happened. France was broke. The monarchy had spent everything on wars and palaces. The harvest failed. Bread prices exploded. People were starving. The people didn't file a petition. They didn't wait for the next election. They stormed the Bastille. They dragged the king back to Paris. They abolished the monarchy. They executed Louis XVI in front of a crowd. The entire structure of government was torn down.
Did it work?
Define work. The monarchy was gone. That worked. What replaced it was the Reign of Terror, Robespierre, the guillotine running daily, between 17,000 and 40,000 people executed in about a year, then a coup, then another government, then Napoleon, then empire, then more wars, then the monarchy came back, then another revolution, then another republic, then another emperor. It took France nearly a century to stabilize. But here's what matters. The system was removed, not reformed, removed. And it didn't happen through legal channels. It happened because the system stopped functioning, people were desperate, and the cost of doing nothing became higher than the cost of burning it down. That's the pattern. The Russian Revolution, 1917, the Tsar had ruled for 300 years. Absolute power, divine right, the whole thing. Then, World War I. Millions dead, economy collapsed, food shortages. The army started refusing orders, the people rose up, the Tsar abdicated, the provisional government took over, then the Bolsheviks took over from them. The entire structure, not just the ruler, the structure was demolished and replaced.
And that went well?
Are you kidding me? Stalin, gulags, millions dead, 70 years of authoritarian rule, then collapse? No, it did not go well, but again, the structure was removed, that's the point. You asked if it can be done. It can. The question is what it costs. Let's do some more recent ones. Romania in 1989. Nicolae Ceausescu had ruled for 24 years. Communist dictatorship, secret police everywhere, personality cult, the works. December 1989, a protest in Timișoara over the eviction of a pastor. The protest spread. Security forces opened fire. That made it worse. By December the 21st, Ceausescu called a mass rally in Bucharest to demonstrate public support, live on television. And something happened that had never happened before. The crowd booed him. live on television. The dictator standing there and the crowd booing. You can watch the footage, you can see his face. He had no idea what was happening. Within 4 days, he was arrested. He and his wife were executed by firing squad on Christmas Day. The system collapsed in a week. Because the crowd booed, because the illusion broke, the whole thing runs on the idea that the people accept it. That consent exists, that the structure is legitimate when that illusion breaks, publicly, undeniably, in a way everyone can see. The system has nothing left, it's just people in buildings giving orders that no one...
Yeah, again, it's kind of saying the grass isn't greener on the other side in many ways. If you listen to some of the catastrophic events when people removed the system and didn't replace it with something good, but very much how it is, that you'll see in a minute on another incident. They're very much moving to the vacuum. Either something bad moves into the area, or the same people just retake control and change the management kind of thing, which is very true, to be honest, very true. Again, these people very much control the world, and just geopolitics. Like, you're always thinking politics because it's your country, but to them it's geopolitics. It's moves on the board. Do you know what I mean? So you're very much between a rock and a hard place. Is one side of the crack. You know what I mean? It's like the whole Tommy Robinson thing on the 16th, as I've said there. It pretty much will accomplish nothing. And the reason for it will accomplishing nothing is because we don't have a democracy in the first place. So that's kind of the way of it. So we'll play a bit more again. It's very interesting.
One follows. East Germany in 1989. The Berlin Wall didn't fall because of a vote. It fell because thousands of people showed up and started crossing. The guards didn't know what to do. The orders from above were confused. And suddenly everyone realized they can't stop us all. The system collapsed because people stopped believing in it.
Yeah, they can't stop us all. Again, it's kind of like the elite's biggest fear, that everybody figures out the plan before they manage to enact the plan. But they're running out of time, as I've mentioned quite a few times. We're very much running out of time here.
At the same moment. Iran in 1979, the Shah was one of the most powerful rulers in the Middle East. American-backed, secret police, torture, total control. Protests began, strikes, demonstrations. The oil workers walked out, the military started refusing orders. The Shah fled in January 1979. The system was gone. What replaced it was the Islamic Republic, arguably more authoritarian than what came before. The people removed the government. They did not gain control of what came next. That's the other pattern. When systems collapse, something fills the vacuum, and usually the people who fill it are the ones who were organised, funded.
Yeah, basically the powers that be, the elites. Again, in this country, as an example, say the king is really the power that be. You know what I mean? It's in the word, the king. Well, we just keep changing the management. You know what I mean? Tony Blair, fucking Margaret Thatcher, Keir Starmer, fucking anyone you want. We just keep changing the management. The actual power structure remains the same, and this is why we keep heading towards the New World Order. Again, King Charles is massively behind the Economic Forum. I mean, the Queen was very much in on this as much as King Charles is. She just played it better. She never really talked about it. She didn't show her hand, you know what I mean? King Charles has shown his hand for years in this sort of sphere, you know what I mean? So, yeah, but activism is a way to, again, the grass isn't necessarily greener on the other side. On a lot of occasions when the power structure has been removed by force, it's went to shit for quite some time. It took France there 100 years to recover, and fuck knows how many people died. So it's a very, very dodgy line as well, but ultimately these people will take total control in the New World Order in 3-4 years' time. And then nobody will ever be fucking really happy again, is the other side of it. The whole illusion of democracy it's not needed anymore. It'll be out the window here. It's do as you're fucking told and serve a purpose, or don't be here. It's kind of the way of it.
And ready, not ordinary people, the people who were already planning. Sri Lanka in 2022. The economy collapsed completely. Foreign reserves ran out, fuel imports stopped, people couldn't buy petrol, hospitals ran out of supplies, the power grid failed. The public didn't organise around ideology, they organised around survival. They marched on the presidential palace, they occupied it, the president fled the country, the government resigned.
The system was removed?
No, the president was removed, the cabinet was removed, the system, the structure, the constitution, the institutions remained. New people were appointed through.
So basically what it's saying there is well, as the guy said there, we keep changing the management. So even if we get rid of Keir Starmer, somebody else comes in who's just playing along with the agenda. Even all of Labour is, in a way. So yeah, we just keep removing the management. Again, you kind of have to remove the king, but removing the king could be fucking catastrophic for years, who knows. And again, you think that the powers that be that lost control would not try to gain control back, do you know what I mean? I mean, everybody, like Nigel Farage is in on this, all the politics, like, if you vote for Nigel Farage, nothing will change. Although that's never going to happen if we go to war. There'll be no election. This whole, it's all just kind of keeping you busy with the hope that you might get change, that you might be able to fix this in many ways. But Nigel Farage will save nothing. So yeah, we just keep changing the management ultimately, and that will never fix anything. So all this like Keir Starmer, and it's far bigger than Keir Starmer. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. I need to go to work and have to process the video before I go, so I'll have to finish here now, really. If you want to watch the video, The Hidden Hand, Why You Can't Remove Your Government, again, there's quite a lot. He goes into people and who they are, like Blair and Starmer and the backgrounds and stuff. It is quite interesting, the rest of the video. I would have played more of it if I didn't have to go to work here, but I do, so... I'd recommend going and watching the rest of it, because it's very much how it all works. We're not in a democracy, we're in a dictatorship. He proves that in the later video as well. I kind of wanted to get to that bit, but it's on about 23 minutes, I think. So yeah, we're in a dictatorship, and the New World Order is a dictatorship, but we're already in it. It's just they're going to move the illusion that we're not in it at some point, you know what I mean? And it's just becoming do as you're told. And yeah, that's what the Online Safety Act's about, and the digital IDs. It's all about control and controlling you forever and everybody forever. And they've got the technology to do so now, so they're implementing the plan. But this has always been the plan for these people. They just didn't have the technology to do it. So yeah, the future's a shit show, to be honest. But again, can we even do anything about it? Again, removing the government will do nothing about it. They're just removing the management. And should they start the Third World War this year, it all goes out the fucking window real quickly, to be honest. So yeah, it's just you're stuck between a rock and a hard place, to be honest. Everybody is now. These people control and own the world and own everything. This has all happened in our lifetimes. They've bought everything up, because again, in order to control everything, you need to own everything, and they kind of do at this point. So fuck knows, but this is how it works. This is what's really going on. I'll have to leave it there. Peace.